Welcome to Balanced Life with Debi Tarnie Fulloon, conversations connecting to a healthier you, the show that gives you all the latest and greatest health and wellness information to inspire you to live a life of balance and joy. Debi Tarnie Fulloon is a health and nutrition coach, personal trainer, and fitness instructor who helps her clients live in balance with everything that feeds us, in addition to the food on our plate. Please welcome your host, Debi Tarnie Fulloon.
Hi, hello everybody, and welcome this afternoon to my show. This is Balanced Life with me, your host, Debi Tarnie Fulloon. I am conversations that connect to a healthier you. And today I'm excited because we're part 2 in a series that we have with my co-host, Tarnie Fulloon, Living Well Through Healthy Life Approaches. And I'm going to get into that in just a second, but I want to thank you for joining us, and I want to let you know that you also can become part of this conversation. So, because that's what we do. We have conversations that we want to integrate with the audience. So to do that, you can call in, because we're live right now, at area code 323-524-2599. That's 323-524-2599. And that will be up on the screen if you're watching us also. But if you aren't watching us live and you can't call in, or even if you are and you can't call in or don't want to call in, but have a comment or a question, you can go to my Facebook page, Balanced Life by Debi. The show is actually streaming live there right now. And you can ask a question, make a comment, and my guest host and I will get back to you after the show. So we invite the conversation to continue on and on. I also want to let you know that I am a personal trainer, a fitness coach, a health and nutrition coach. And during this time, I am helping people to maximize their health, because it's really important during our crazy year that we've been having to keep your immune system strong, and accountability is always a good thing. So I'm giving free health coaching sessions out right now. All you have to do is go to my website, balancedlifebydebi.com, and fill out the connect form, and I'll get right back to you and we'll set up a time to get together. So I really look forward to working with any and all of you. So on with our show. Our second part in our series today is, are you aware that you might be unintentionally sabotaging your opportunity to achieve your goals through limiting beliefs? Today, in part 2 of our series, Living Well Through Healthy Life Approaches, my co-host and I, Tarnie Fulloon, explore how you alone can be keeping yourself from the life you deserve simply by the limiting beliefs you are holding on to. So today we're going to discuss what they are, how to recognize them, and what can be done to eliminate them for good. My co-host, Tarnie Fulloon, is the creator of Body-Centered Medicine, a somatic and embodiment method that uncovers what your body pain and anxiety are holding. Tarnie believes that the body's intelligence has information you need for healing. She guides those that are ready to heal on all levels, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Perfect person to help dig into the limiting beliefs that hold us back and how to let go of them. So here we go. Will you please welcome my co-host for this series, Tarnie Fulloon, to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Debi.
Yay. Hi, Tarnie.
Good to see you. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Good to see you
appreciate that
again.
Introduction, and looking forward to this show. This is going to be a good one.
Yeah, I think so. I think, this is something, no matter what is going on in the world or in our personal lives, this situation can hold us back. Limiting beliefs is universal. Absolutely. It's everywhere. But before we get going, let's talk about what they are. What would you say is a definition of limiting beliefs?
A definition, yes, of limiting beliefs. How I view them is, we think that they're opinions we have that we think are the truth. They're actually things that we've formed, usually from childhood or from some experience we've had. We've made a decision about something, and then we've we sort of really think it's an absolute truth, when in fact it's not. And I'm going to give examples, and we're going to go through an exercise to uncover some of these. But there's something that we're sort of fairly, usually as a conviction about, and it keeps us. So I might have a limiting belief, for instance, that I can't write. And so then I won't write anything. So I just believe, no, I'm no good at writing. I'm no good at singing. I can't do that. And then we make up a story about it. And it usually originates from something, maybe micro traumas or a trauma when you're younger. And we just keep it alive. We keep a story then, and things we say and do to ourselves that keep that story alive. And they really breed can breed anxiety, can breed fear, can breed anger. And this all gets caught up in the body, which we're going to talk about a little bit more as well. But they're beliefs that we think are true, but they're actually irrational or not real.
Right. There's something that we grab onto, and it stays with us,
Yes.
and it stops us from in our tracks. It creates fear. It creates anxiety, as you said. It stops us from taking care of ourselves to move forward in a positive way. It keeps us held down.
Well, it keeps us feeling maybe guilt or shame or inadequate, or, it keeps us in a less than place. Yeah.
So, yeah, we talked about there's like several different kinds of limiting beliefs. Some that you believe about yourself, others that you believe, come in from outside sources, something somebody said to you that you've kind of grasped on and believe. So, and then you have a belief about them, which limits you from moving forward.
Yeah.
And then there's that sort of universal limiting belief that can keep you also from moving forward. So
absolutely.
How would you separate those three? What would be a good example of? But you gave one for the personal one.
So maybe about ourselves, we have a belief that, like I said, I'm unlikable, I'm not good enough, I'm incapable of doing something, and I hear that a lot in the work I do. And by the way, I have a special offer for everybody at the end. I just want to say that, so stay till the end and you'll hear it. But when we think unhealthy things about ourselves, we're usually putting ourselves down. We're judging ourselves. We're criticizing ourselves. We're saying, as I said, I think I mentioned that I'm not good enough. We can also do things where we think, oh, I'm the best at that, or I don't have to follow those rules. And they are actually dangerous limiting beliefs as well. Oh, that doesn't apply to me. And so either of those, it can be either a negative, like a putting down, or it can be that egoic puffing up. And so in terms of yourself, it can be very demoralizing when we do that. When we think about beliefs about others, it could be that they're against me, they don't like me, they're untrustworthy, they're trying to manipulate me, or they're manipulative. And often in that place you'll feel, and certainly again from my clients and the work I've done with myself, you sort of feel from others, I don't feel heard, I don't feel seen, I don't feel appreciated, I'm feeling ignored or overstepped,
Mm-hmm.
And then with the world, and similarly that happens if you're also, the opposite to that is if you're someone who's an overgiver, you're always pleasing, you're always sort of like you're giving in. Again, it's an irrational belief. Oh, I must please everybody, or I must give before I can give. It's okay to give, but I can't receive. So these limiting beliefs run very deeply, and they also turn up. One last thing, as you mentioned, in the world, is that you just think, oh, I can't find happiness in this world.
So why bother?
So why bother?
Yeah.
Or, everything's gone, like this pandemic. Yeah. Everything's gone so it's hopeless and so it's helpless.
And it only is if you allow it, if you believe that it is, and that limits you. You know what? We have our very first caller. So hang on one second. Caller, are you there? And what is your name and where are you calling from?
Yes. Hi, my name is Hillary and I'm calling from Los Angeles, California.
Hi, Hillary. Welcome to the show. Do you have a comment or a question for myself or Tarnie today, or both of us?
Yeah, I was going to ask Tarnie. I really related to what she was saying. And I have a friend who has stopped calling me, and I don't really know why. We've been friends for over 25 years, so it's kind of troubling.
So, yes, thank you, Hillary. I'm actually going to go through a process a little bit in a bit. Can I use you? Would you like to just hang on and we'll come back and we'll work through the process with you? Would you be willing to do that?
Oh, yeah, I'd feel lucky. Thank you.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Kurt, can we take more than one caller? If someone's in the waiting room, we can,
yes,
right?
Yes, we can, yeah.
Okay, good to know. Then hang on, Hillary, come back. We're going to do a demonstration with you, if that's okay. Well, good. That's good. That's good. Thank you for calling. I can't wait to hear working through that process. So, obviously, unhealthy beliefs lead to unhealthy habits. And like you alluded to, it's very dangerous because you internalize, and when you internalize something, it becomes, you hold on to it within your body, and then it becomes dangerous because you can get very sick. Right. And that's how you work with people. Do you want to talk about that? Maybe with some of your clients, how you've seen those limiting beliefs turn into something else internally.
Absolutely, I'd love to give you an example. And I know, Debbie, you work with people. I sort of work with people on that deeper emotional, mental, spiritual level. But I also know you work with that. You see this when it turns up on the physical level, in the physical body. So we'll come back to that. But I have a couple of really wonderful examples, and one I did yesterday, and maybe those listening, and like Hillary just rang in about her friend, I'm sure you'll all relate, but she had a very acute, painful neck and hip, and I do all my calls virtually, so I don't see people, well, certainly not now, face to face, but her issue was, well, first of all, that's what the pain, but the issue was that she started with, I'm just not having the money flow, right? I'm finding that I'm not getting the money that I feel like I'm capable of, or that I deserve, or that's there for me. And she's had some issues around money before. A financial advisor actually took off with a lot of her money. But as we were exploring it, so here is this pain, this acute pain, which was something that happened on the weekend, separate to, but she's also got this money issue. But as we explored it, she realized her body was suffering because she scrimps on money. She actually tries to get a good bargain, and she'd stayed at a cheap hotel, and it was a bad bed, and it wasn't good. And she realized, I'm not allowing myself to have any pleasure, to have anything that really where I look like I've got some abundance, right? Yeah. So we did a little bit of a deeper exploration and found that deep down she held a belief from her mother. Her mother felt like the limiting belief is that it must be someone else's responsibility. It must be someone else's fault. So her mom was victim. It must be, she'd had some situations in her life, so it was someone else's fault. So it was someone else's responsible. So somewhere inside this client of mine, who I'll call Tori, she was holding that inside of her. And so it was tight in her body that it couldn't allow the money to flow. Once we separated her, that was her mom's issue, not hers. She was able to see, that there was a relationship between pleasure and fun. So she had it tied up that she can't have any pleasure and she can't have any fun. And it's all work. Money, you've got to make money. Once she started to step back, that was my mom's issue, and there was something I'd internalized for that, she was able to feel into and connect to pleasure and fun can create abundance and flow and
it's amazing how deep it can go. It goes so deep, and it goes so far back too. It's something that happened. I can give an example of being with money as well. I was bad at math, right? But my father was a genius, so he's the head of finance. and computer programming back in the 60s for Transamerica Corporation. So he tutored me in math in elementary and junior high when my parents were still together. And there were concepts in algebra and geometry, things like that, that I could not grasp. And he didn't handle it as well as I think a parent probably should have, that I would never have done to my kids, which you live and learn. But he treated me really, he was like, it's pathetic that you don't understand money. It's pathetic. You're hopeless. You're helpless, right? So I hung on to that. Right. And I, as a result, when it comes to money, I'm very dismissive, right? So rather than fine tuning budgets and doing that as an adult, I've worked through this since, but I realized early on I had a bad relationship with money. Thus, I married a man who had a bad relationship with money. So guess what? We had a bad relationship with money in our marriage. It was abundance, sort of all or nothing. And ultimately, it ended my marriage. So, but it goes that far back that I didn't understand that I probably should have not fed into this mantra that my father was giving me. And I should have pulled back
you adopted it, yes, as a belief.
Yes.
You just adopted, and then it gets internalized, and you find out, well, where am I holding that in my body? And as I say, we'll go through the process shortly, and where do I hold it and how do I release it and how do I separate from it so it's not running my life. I mean, core beliefs, as you said, run very deeply, and they're often from both Tori and your experiences from childhood. And, it's not necessarily easy stuff to do, and people don't necessarily say, there often can be a resistance, but it's so empowering.
It is when you release it. We're taking our first break. Hang on, Hillary. We're going to get back to you. We're taking our first break and we'll be right back.
I want to share with you a product I've been using for the last month, known as the most powerful antioxidant on earth. It's called My Vital C. My Vital C will not only help you feel healthier, but research shows it will aid in a longer life. And since using My Vital C, here are the things that I noticed: that I have no more restless sleep. It's so much easier now for me to fall asleep. And as you know, sleep is a great immune system booster. I'm also supporting my immune system with antiviral and antibacterial properties, and not to mention the high levels of antioxidants I'm receiving. So the bottom line here is I simply feel better. And now I'm recommending My Vital C to all my clients, my friends, and my family. To order this life-changing product, go to the link myvitalc.com/balanced life. Make sure you take advantage of the 25% discount on subscription. You can cancel at any time. Use the coupon Balanced Life for an additional $15 off your first order. Go to myvitalc.com/balanced life and check out this life-changing product right now.
And welcome back. We're back. So we've kind of identified limiting beliefs. Let's go to Hillary, and then we'll talk about, from my point of view, what happens to limiting beliefs that we stop taking care of ourselves.
Right.
Why and how this plays out when, what we see and how we sabotage things because of limiting beliefs. But Hillary, are you there?
Yes, and I just want to say something. Oh, hi, Hillary. I'm just going to say something before we start with Hillary, that just to follow on what we were saying, Debbie, before we went on the break, is that, limiting beliefs can affect your health, right? It can affect your relationships. It can affect money flow. It can affect how you work. I mean, it affects, whether your love relationship or relationship with friends. It really can impede different areas of life. Now, often you might find that a certain area of your life is going really well, but some area of your life isn't. And that's often a place to look where there's a limiting belief, or maybe the place where you're getting stuck in your life. So with that, I'd love to go to Hillary. Hi, Hillary.
Hi, how are you, Tarnie? Debbie, how are you?
Nice.
Good. Thank you for waiting. You're very patient. We just wanted to get out a little bit more for the listeners of where limiting beliefs reside and what they are. But you do have a situation that probably has limiting beliefs attached to it, and Tarnie's going to take us through it right
the process.
now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so what we're going to do, I'll just do a summary, is identify what it is. So this is what Hillary, she'll, and they're often hidden. We're often aware of them, as I said before. And then we're going to ask, well, is this a true belief, or where does it come from? Where do you hold it in your body? And is there a truth about it? So we need to identify it, bring it to the surface, then look at where it, how we hold it, and then how to release it and shift and create a new belief. It's really important. So a lot of times people will just do it in their head. They'll think it. I'm going to be like Tori. I talked about, I'm going to be prosperous. I'm going to make money. I'm going to be prosperous. But if she hasn't got that shift inside her body, if she's not holding it within herself, it won't happen. And that's often, people make intentions, or they set goals and all sorts of things. And when they don't shift, it's usually because there's a deep limiting belief inside. So Hillary, I'm going to ask you a few questions. And if you don't feel comfortable with something, let me know, or we'll just gently walk through things, because sometimes it can be hard digging up a limiting belief. And I'm going to invite the listeners to maybe have a piece of paper and a pen. If not, just say it out loud in your head, but just follow through, so as if I'm working with you as well. And Hillary is just going to be, she's going to model it. All right. So first of all, I want you, Hillary, you mentioned that you had a situation with a friend. Can you just tell us again what that is?
Yes, this is a friend. We've been friends for many years, and all of a sudden, she's pretty much not calling me, and I've just found that a lot of big things are going on in her life, and she hasn't called to talk to me about it, and so I feel left out.
Great. Yes, I hear that. And so for the listeners, you want to feel into a situation that has a negative, something that's triggering, like Hillary, she's feeling left out, and you sort of, what happened? Where do you feel it? What's going on? So then what would you like to be different about this? Sorry, I'm going to ask that question. So we might have a reaction to it. Well, what should be different? So what was wrong? What's wrong with this situation? So Hillary, what should be different? What's wrong with the situation? What would feel better about the situation?
Well, I feel like obviously I must have done something wrong, or said something that I don't realize. And I think what I would like to see different is that she would talk it out with me. She'd say, this happened, and, that upset me. And so then we can kind of work through it. Right.
So what did you think do you think there's a belief around this that you've made about her? Do you think, so this question is identifying a belief that's happened around this. So is there something, Hillary, that you've made a decision about, like, well, she mustn't like me, or she doesn't want to be with me, or I'm no good? Or is there anything that you've decided around that? Because often what we do when there's a limit, when there's something like this happening, we sort of make a decision in this moment. It's usually often related, as we said, we looked earlier, to something else. But in this moment with her, have you made some sort of belief around this, Hillary?
Well, yes. I mean, just little things that she said made me feel like, or I guess I decided that I was just too different. I was too, away from the norm. I wasn't perfect. I'm not saying that I need to be perfect, but that my ideas were too far out and unacceptable.
And where do you feel that in your body?
Yeah, I feel it in my solar plexus.
In your gut. Yeah, that's often the place. And it'll be in different places. I've had someone have it in their ankle, which, she didn't feel that she was worthy of existing. I've had someone, feel it in their shoulders and they don't belong. And so it turns up in different parts of the body. And there's a longer process to this.
Yeah, we have to do the accelerated process so we can move along. But
Yes.
so knowing where it's showing up in her body, knowing what the situation is, and probably what the belief is, what are the sort of the bullet points and what she can do to alleviate?
Well, so it's going now back to, if Hillary could go back to, well, is there a situation when she was younger that this happened? And it's likely that there's some decision or something happened when she was younger, and what that belief that she formed when she was younger. So, clients will often relate it to childhood. It's related to a parent. And so it could be that, my mother didn't like me, or my mother wasn't, whatever, a bit like what happened with your father, Debbie. And then we form a belief about it, and then it keeps, perpetuating. So just to finish off with Hillary, is there anything that has come forward for you as we're talking that maybe you recognize when you were younger?
Well, as soon as I said that, I remembered that, my mom thought I was a little different and maybe a little odd. So yeah, that came up. So
that could be a belief that my irrational belief is I'm a bit odd, I'm a bit different. And what might be, if we can fast track this, then you rewrite the belief, what might be, and I'm sorry, Hillary, this is a bit fast, but what might be a new belief that you could possibly feel inside your body?
Well, I think it sounds or feels better to say maybe that I'm unique, and that it's okay for me to be an individual.
Beautiful. And how does that feel in your body?
I feel like I can breathe deeper.
Yes.
One of the things, I'm going to jump in here. One of the things I help my clients with, Hillary, is talking about fitting out. Because, being a health and wellness coach, a lot of times the bad eating habits that some of my clients have, they don't want to change them because they don't want to be the odd man out when they go out at the table, or when they're at someone's home, or even with family members. They don't want to get made fun of. So they're worried about fitting in. And one of the things I always say is I'd always rather fit out. I always rather stand out and be who I am and the uniqueness of the way I handle things and do things, than fit in and go with the flow and be one of the crowd. So it's actually a good thing that you realized it is a good thing, that it's okay to fit out in that respect.
And as you hold that in your body, as Hillary was saying, so often I hear, there's just expansion, and there's openness, and there's relief, and there's relaxation, and so how might you feel about your friend right now, as we just bring it back to the beginning, Hillary?
Well, I think I can just feel like she has her opinion, and if that's, if that is how she's feeling, I feel like I have to accept who she is and her uniqueness.
And that it's really nothing to do with you, in the sense of, if that's her choice, but doesn't make me bad or wrong or less than, or feed into that irrational belief like you had from your mom.
Yes, exactly.
If you accept your uniqueness,
I can see that.
Yeah. If you accept your uniqueness, she either does or she doesn't. And if she doesn't, then you just bless her and let her go.
Lovely. How does that feel, Hillary? Does it feel like that is reasonable and doable for you?
Yeah, it's kind of a funny thing. My shoulders just relaxed when you said that.
Yeah, you took a deep breath. Yeah, that's good.
Well,
hang on to that, and you're welcome to get a hold of Tarnie. If you're watching us, it's TarnieFulloon.com, and to dig deeper into this if you like, because she's really good, because I work with her and I know. So thank you for calling so much. Thank you. I really appreciate
Hillary. Really appreciate it.
Helping a lot of people.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Good one. That's really good. So it's interesting how it shows up in so many different forms, in so many different ways that you don't actually think about ahead of time. A friend suddenly ghosting you, who would think that a limiting belief is attached to that? But it is in so many. It's funny, just a little anecdote. I'm listening to Matthew McConaughey's book called Green Lights. And the interesting thing that he talks about, and is a reoccurring theme throughout this book, is the things that keep you from moving forward in your wants, your needs, your desires, your health, your relationships, all kinds of things. And he talks about the beliefs that you have in your head will stop you in your tracks. And coming from an actor, I know how that is, because there's a lot of rejection in the acting world. And the reason why he calls it green lights is because when a project, where something moves forward, it's green lit.
Right. Yes.
Stoplight, a green light means moving forward. But we get stuck in the yellow, or sometimes we go to the red, and we're not in the green lights because of exactly what we're talking about today. Limiting beliefs. And he brings it up just about every chapter on, okay, he hit a curve. What can he do he kept journals. So he was able to really revisit things and understand not mistakes he made, but limiting the beliefs that he was holding on to that were holding him back, and things that hold people back, and what you need to do to reverse it. And I have to say, he's quite tenacious, and it's one of the reasons why he is where he is today, because he knew, he was smart enough to recognize them. And that's the thing.
Important. It's important. I just want to say, Debbie, it's important that you recognize them, because limiting beliefs are a mental process, but also to recognize how they're turning up in your body. So the trigger, like with Hillary or with Tori or one of you get a body symptom. It's like, oh, what is that? So it's not just the mental process, but how's that turning up in my body?
Right, which comes to self-care sometimes, so you're more amped, more likely to buy into a limiting belief if you're not taking care of yourself. And I always think, self-care matters. How you take care of yourself matters. How what you put in your body matters. Whether or not you have good sleep habits matter. How you move matters. These things that may not be working well and you may not be taking care of within you will cause you to grab onto limiting beliefs and then keep you from staying healthy. And that's where sort of my work with a lot of my clients come into. What are they sabotaging that allows them to keep eating like this? That allows them to, get their adrenals so spiked up that their cortisol levels and their stress levels are so high, their adrenals are shot, and they're not sleeping. And they're not moving because they're so frantic about keeping their life going. What's going on? And where is it that they're sabotaging themselves? And we have to step backwards and look at all their things in life that, are interconnected, that are a part of wellness, and what isn't happening. What is it that they're doing? The extreme of this would be addictions, obviously, alcohol, drugs, food.
Right.
Either way, whether you eat it or not, there's something you're holding on to, and it's a belief from way back. It's something that has to do with, I'm not good enough, so why bother? Why bother? There's a big why bother mantra, I find. My clients will come up with, well, it's in my genes, so why bother? Oh, it's too expensive, so why bother? Oh, that's not what I'm used to, so why bother? And what they're really saying is, I'm not good enough. I know you find that a lot in your practice.
Yes. I mean, I think I'm not good enough is often the root of a lot of them, Debbie. And, why bother is that hopeless there's no point, and there's just no energy there. So then there's no energy flow, and so there's no juice, there's no vitality. And so the why bother is a defense mechanism.
Yeah, to keep back. Now we have one more, speaking of addictions, but this is a good thing. We have one more sponsor to get in there, and we'll be right back because we're going to put this all in a pretty package for us. We'll be right back.
I have been a wine enthusiast for many decades, but for a while I had to stop drinking wine because of the sleepless nights and the headaches that I would have in the morning, even after only one glass. Does this sound familiar? So for the past 5 years, and since the start of my show, I've been looking for a healthy wine, and finally I found the answer I've been looking for: dry farm wines. Dry farm wines are lab tested for purity, just 12.5% alcohol or less, 0.15 grams of sugar or less per glass, very low sulfites, and free of toxic additives. Dry farm wines are dry farmed with healthy, biodiverse soil, and the taste, bright and vibrant due to no manipulation. I can't say enough about the amazing wines that I've tried. And now you too can drink wine and not worry about how it is negatively affecting your health. Just go to dryfarmwines.com/balanced life by Debi so you too can taste the love put into every bottle.
There we go. We are back again, and we're talking about not being enough and the way that limiting beliefs make us say, why bother? Why bother? And now we're going to talk about what we can do to bother.
Yes.
And from the way you work with your clients and the way I work with my clients, we're going to kind of break it down in the next 10 minutes.
So I'd love to hear from you, Debi, how you help your clients change their habits. And you see these limiting beliefs, right? I know you get it from, as you say, with all the different levels of health and fitness that they're doing. So, what can you give us some examples? I'd love to hear some examples.
Yeah. So, okay. So, for instance, I had have a client. I mean, we talked about one of my personal ones, but I had a client. I subsequently helped her, and she's doing great now. But she had a lot of fears, and one of them was social anxiety, right? So that social anxiety took to self-sabotage. So what I was talking about before the break, she was overeating, she was sleeping, she got into a deep, dark depression. And one of her beliefs was, she had fears because there were so many people in her family that stood out. Older sister who was in med school, and her grandparents were very, very successful, and her father who was a doctor. And so she just thought, why bother? I'm not too scared to move forward and to really, I think, find authentically what her passions were and what her preferences were in just moving forward in life. So she became suicidal, and that's when she was referred to me. And one of the things that she wasn't doing was taking care of herself. So I knew we had to start from somewhere. So unlike you, I don't dig into her past. She was young. She's barely 20 years old. So, but she dropped out of college, and she had attempted suicide. So one of the things that I wanted to do was make her feel better about herself. Physically, she was overweight. She was, not wearing any makeup. Not that you have to wear makeup, but sometimes it does make you feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
She was eating very poorly, and, it was fast food, just eat to live kind of thing, not because I'm really paying attention to what food can do for me, and whether or not I even like it doesn't matter. So I realized we had to get her to the point where it does matter. It all matters. And so movement and food became our starting point, because I knew she wasn't sleeping either. But once you start moving and eating better, then you know that the sleeping is going to fall into place. And those are the three main things that you want to fall into place before everything else can get going. And the very first thing I had her do was hydrate. She was living on medication and sleeping. So she wasn't hydrating. So she just started feeling better by adding a glass of water every single day. So the first day was 1 glass. Second day, I've talked about this a lot on the show, two glasses. And then we talked about her food. I had her do a food diary so I could see what a typical week was like. And it was filled with junk food. And it was, there was no nourishment in there at all. So obviously that was making her feel worse about herself, not only because she was feeling bad, but she was looking bad. So just hide. The best thing for her was to hide. And the other thing was she came to me for movement. So we put exercise in and we started super slow, any kind of movement, just walking around the block. She started walking with her mother. She started exercising with me 3 days a week. And slowly but surely, I saw her drop, slowly but surely, but she did do it. Within a year, she dropped 40 pounds. She went back to school. She found the passion in the thing that she wanted to study, not the thing that she thought she was supposed to do because of the success that everything else was going on within her family. She continued exercising, and she now feels very empowered and very strong about herself, and she's on the path. And one of the things that I know that was holding her back, that causes fear, are limiting beliefs.
Yes.
That she wasn't good enough, so why bother? And it really does work. And I always dig in deep with a client to see, what is that one mantra they've been telling themselves, like I was talking about earlier, oh, it's in the genes or whatever, that's keeping them. All I know is moving forward. It's like, Matthew McConaughey's green lights. Keep moving forward on a positive path, taking care of yourself physically, and all of everything else snowballs. It's an effect. There's a chain reaction that everything starts coming together. And it's really, as a coach, it's really very, really such a wonderful feeling to see.
It's so inspiring.
People.
It's so inspiring. That's what I find. Yes. Which is fabulous. And it's a really, I just concur with you, Debbie. It's, I have a physiotherapy or physical therapy here in the United States background. And so exercise, diet, hydration, all of that is just absolutely key to a healthy lifestyle. And then it's looking at, well, but where's that thing that's not working? So you and I, really actually work, it's working in tandem. It's not one.
Yeah, we're bumpers.
Yeah.
We're bumpers to each other. It's all connected like this.
Yes, it is. And it is very connected. And these things run deeply. So that's why it takes time. Yes, you can you can start finding the limiting belief, but if it's been there, like I had a client who for 35 years was basically abused by her husband emotionally, but just, verbally. But, and it's taken her now till she's got divorced. I've taken her through the process of finding her voice, but her limiting belief was that she didn't deserve to be successful. He was the successful one.
That's very common. That's common among divorced women. Very common.
And so she's had to shift that belief that she's actually was going to be a concert pianist. And, now she's 60 plus but she's starting to really believe in herself, and the pain that she's had in her body, the issues, the digestive issues, the shoulder and neck pain are easing, and she's inhabiting herself again. And she did her first recording the other day. It was very exciting.
Don't you just love that? It's never too late. And again, that feeling of success that you really help somebody have a breakthrough is really so wonderful, because, at some point, getting older is a limiting belief. Oh, I'm too old for that. Oh, I can't do that. I just saw
a big one. Yes.
A 102-year-old man jumped out of an airplane last week.
Yeah.
It was like, well, it's on my bucket list. I'm 102, might as well. You know what I mean? It's never too late to do anything. The only thing that stops you is you. It's you. Really.
And it's important to look at, as you say, the limiting beliefs. Where am I being held back, and how do I need to attend it? How do I want to, start with it? Do I want to start with it on the physical level, which a lot of people do? or they go and get the physical pain or the physical issues, like I'm overweight or I'm not exercising, or like the girl you described, which, and I imagine you have a huge variety of people that come in with different other issues, but it's looking at it at all levels, the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual levels.
Right. And
where is the one that needs really the attention?
And then getting to that mindset where you have to go, where it's almost like, again, getting back to a habit, like an addiction habit, like alcoholism, where you have to say, I'm an alcoholic. Right. But with this mindset is, I'm my own worst enemy. Right. I am enough. And now you have to change that mantra. We've talked about, you and I think have talked about the little devil on your shoulder. Matthew McConaughey calls it Jiminy Cricket. I didn't want to listen to Jiminy Cricket. I'm going to just do my thing, and he was very successful by not listening to that voice in your head. Meditation is a big deal for you and is a big deal as part of that full circle of things that need to connect to stay well.
I just want to say on that note, we all have irrational beliefs. We all have limiting beliefs. We just do. It's part of the human condition. And we all have that voice. And it's moving, it's separating, it's discovering it so it doesn't run your life. So that deeper sense of your true voice, right? The truth of who I am runs my voice, not all those that limiting, which is what Matthew McConaughey is talking about, right? Yeah. He heard that, but he said, no, I'm not listening to you. This is what I'm moving towards, or this is what I want, and you stay on track. And that does take courage and a bit of discipline and a bit of discipline, and takes guidance. That's why people like you and I can support people, because we need coaches and guides, as you and I both have ourselves. We don't do this on our own.
Do you think, just an aside, do you think procrastination is because there's a limiting belief attached to it?
Oh, totally. And there's the procrastinator voice. And the procrastinator voice often is a protective voice, but the protective voice is often, the procrastinator has an opinion that's holding you back because there's a limiting belief behind it. Absolutely.
Yeah, because if you don't do it, then you're not going to fail. It's that fear again that comes up.
Well, I won't be judged or criticized, or I will be seen, or whatever it might be. Yeah.
And there's so many reasons to not buy into that. And we're all, like you said, we all have that somewhere within us. We're all sort of guilty of that, and that's human. And that is also something you have to kind of accept and move forward. I think, we can't control yesterday. We don't know about tomorrow, but we have the here and now. So use the here and now to move forward and to take this day and seize the moment, if you will, rather than give yourself that excuse that comes from a deep, dark, limiting belief from somewhere.
And I often say with that, Debbie, I just get my clients to say, well, what's true right now? Mm-hmm. Right?
I know you do that. You do that with me.
Yeah. What's true right now? And then it brings me back into my body, because a lot of this work, when I've got an irrational belief or a procrastinator or I'm not good enough, I'm disconnected from myself. I'm disassociated in some way. So when I think, what's true for me? Well, do I really want to listen to that voice or not? I'm really true. I'm very scared to be in front of, public speaking. I'm not, but I could have I used to be, actually, I couldn't speak. But, I'm terrified to speak in front of anyone. But and if I believe, I can believe that. But if I really drop inside and think, well, no, I've got something to say. I've got something to say. So it's checking in underneath. What's actually the real truth, not the voice. That voice.
And that you do so beautifully with your clients. We are out of time, so we need to wrap this up. We'll revisit this in one of our series. This is the second in our series of healthy life approaches to living well. So we will revisit this, because we have 4 more series to go, and we do them every couple of months. So look for those. What are some final words to wrap it all up for us, Tarnie?
I would love to say, just know that the body holds the limiting beliefs. The answers are in your body. And when you spend time coming back inside your body, and lots of people are afraid to do that initially, but there's such freedom that can be found. And it's just, when you unplug those limiting beliefs, life can open up tremendously. And if you'd like to know more, if you're interested in this, I actually am starting a workshop this week. It's Tuesday night, which is tonight, or Thursday, but you can do a catch up. If you go to Tarnie, www.tarniefulloon.com, and Debbie will put that up after, I'm sure. And it's a fundamentals of body-centered medicine. It's a 4-week course. It's for an hour plus each class. Really nice introduction to this work, and just to dig a little deeper. And I have had fabulous results, and people have loved it. So I encourage you, if this is something that speaks to you, go to the website. You'll see it on the homepage, how to sign up.
And I highly recommend it. It works. It definitely works. I've been there and done it.
Yeah, and thank you, Debbie. Thank you for today. This was great.
Thank you. Thank you, Tarnie. It was really good. And now you, the audience, can get involved. What is one of the limiting beliefs that have kept you from moving forward? Let us know. Go to my Facebook page, balancelifebydebi.com. Or Balance Life by Debi Facebook. You can even go to my website if you want to make a comment there. But let us know, or my Instagram, which is also Balance Life by Debi, and give us a shout under there, and we'll get back to you. What is, you're helping people if you let us know what's going on with you. So keep the conversation going. And I want to thank you for joining us today. And Tarnie, I want to thank you for co-hosting with me. I look forward to our future workshops. And I want to say goodbye to you, my audience, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another show. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day. Bye now. Bye.